So, would you rather COVID or cholera?
Definitely COVID. I know it's bad. I don't want to downplay that. But cholera is like diarrhea until you die and turn blue and your cheeks get sucked in and your whole body turns into like
oh no
rags on a skeleton. It's pretty nasty. I'm going to go COVID. Welcome back. Hopefully by now you've learned about some of the worst epidemics in human history. Encouraging stuff, no? Well, now you're actually ready to map it. So we'll be focused today on giving you the tools you need to learn how to map an epidemic. We're going to use one major example to do that, and that starts over in Europe. To be more precise, over in London. London was the site in the mid-1800s of this disease called cholera. Now, cholera happened all over the world in the 1800s and even continues, but there was a particular case in London that led to the first scientist using a map to actually figure out the cause. So that's what we'll be mapping today. So to understand how we're going to create a digital map of cholera today, let's review some of the basic facts from what you learned in the last episode. Here's one of my favorite maps, and it's all about cholera, and it shows what they started with at the beginning of the epidemic. It's just a map, I would call it a base map, of streets, buildings, and some water pumps. This is actually a layer of information that's pretty important to us understanding the spread of this disease. What you have probably learned by now, though, is that this guy, Jon Snow, no, not that Jon Snow, this one actually knew what he was doing, started using that basic map and making tally marks on top of it. Those tally marks helped him notice how many deaths were in particular locations. And that led him to the center of this epidemic. Now, this pattern is really obvious and easy to see, and you could just take a paper copy of the original map and make your own tally marks on it, and you'd be done. But a lot of epidemics are harder to figure out than that particular situation, as hard as it was. So we can use digital mapping tools now to make patterns that are difficult to see initially much more clear. So what do we need to consider when we make a digital map? Well, the first thing is the base map. That's basically the first layer. It includes roads, buildings, just so that you get a sense of where you are. It might also include topographical features so that you can see where is up and down, which can really be important in certain situations. In a hazard, do you really want to be downhill of flowing lava? I don't think so. On top of the base map, now you need to put the thing you actually want to map. In our case, that is incidences of the disease. In Jon Snow's case for cholera, he made a mark every time there was a death at a certain address. We are going to do the same thing digitally, but we have more tools at our disposal. So instead of just making one little tally mark, think of different symbols that could be even more helpful to make it obvious to anyone who looks at the map how many deaths are attributed to one location. Now that we have a lot of incidences on this map, we need to know why they're happening. So think of related factors that can be layered on top of these incidences. When I think about contaminations that are spread in the air, I might want to put something on my map like a local factory. Back in the age where they believed in miasma, where bad smells equaled bad feelings and illness, they might have put sewage plants on a map so that you could see if you were downwind of that and if that was making you sick. In fact, that's what a lot of people were doing when Jon Snow was making his map. They were mapping where bad smells and stenches tended to be. But we know that he put something else on the map, water pumps. He wanted to know where people got their water, and he happened to be right. That's where he was able to link incidences of death to a different related factor. So we want to put any such layer on the map that helps us better understand the factors that could be contributing to disease. Finally, once we can see patterns, we want to make them a lot more visible. So I can do that using color, using symbol size, and using sophisticated analysis tools that help bring patterns and relationships up to the surface so anyone can notice them at a glance. That's our job as map makers and as cartographers. You might, though, need further help to go to the last step. When you want to draw conclusions about what is really causing a disease, you might need to then invite experts in to look at the patterns and relationships that you've highlighted to give you a really clear understanding of what might be related and what might just be a coincidence. That's also the job of the digital map maker, to invite experts into the conversation. So that's what you're going to practice today. Using the links below, you're going to choose between a couple of diseases that you can map. The biggest choices you have are between cholera and the Black Death. After you choose your disease, you can also choose your level of difficulty. Challenge yourself. It's actually not as hard as you think it is. All of my middle school students from 6th grade to 8th grade have had success with these exact same activities. Then choose what kind of learner you are. Do you prefer to watch a video and follow every step someone else is doing? Do it that way. If you prefer to read directions and move at your own pace, that option is available for you too. When you're done creating your map, meet me back here for the next episode.